Hello, I discuss refrain in this video. What is refrain? Refrain in poetry. This is an English word derived from a French verb refraindre, meaning to repeat. What is refrain? We can define refrain as a line or group of lines repeated at regular interval within a poem. Refrain can be a line or a single word that is repeated periodically within a poem. In literature, refrain is repeated sections of a text. Refrain is a poetic device. This is a literature technique. Refrain can come in different sequence. It can have a slight variation. It can consist of the same words, or sometimes we can have some slight changes in the pattern of wordings. So we have said in poetry, refrain will be a line, a word, or a phrase repeated severally. A line, word, phrase repeated at regular intervals in a poem. Let's look at a refrain in this poem. Teacher Tom. Teacher Tom's exodus was unceremonial. There were no planes to ferry him home. Instead, a matatu he took and landed home. Mangu Plains. Teacher Tom molded. Innocent pots he molded with books and not clay. Some clay missed the mold. The learners got nothing. Teacher Tom molded. His misgivings were the chicks that didn't hatch in his incubator. Teacher Tom molded what there wasn't. This is a poem by teacher Gashoka. We have refrain here. This line, teacher Tom molded, is repeated 3 times. In stanza 1, in stanza 2, stanza 3. In stanza 1, repetition occurs in line 7. It also occurs in line 13, and then we have a recurrence of the same in line 18 of the poem. So when identifying, illustrating, quote the number of a line where we have a repetition of a line, a repetition of a given word with an intention to create a refrain. Also, remember to number the lines in your poem for easy illustration. You number the first one, you skip 4, you number the 5th one, you skip 4, you number the 10th, and so forth and so forth. So always alternate by 5 when numbering a poem for the purposes of good identification, good illustration. This poem is about a teacher who taught for many years, but then the results were not that encouraging. Few learners achieved their goal, many failed to focus and perform. He likens his teaching to the work of a potter who would mold a pot that will end up breaking, not holding any material because it's poorly made. So metaphorically, the students are likened to that poor pot, bed pot, because of not performing. We can have refrain in many other poems. For example, this poem, Betty Butter, the name is repeated 3 times. Betty Butter, Betty Butter, Betty Butter. What is the intention? To create some refrain or sound in this poem. What are the uses of refrain in poetry? Number 1, refrain serves as a chorus. In songs, we have chorus, but in poetry, instead of chorus, we talk of a refrain. Refrain enhances musicality. What does that mean? It adds some lyrical quality, that is, some musical melody in a poem. It is an auditory appeal of a poem. Refrain enhances emotions. It also enhances the meaning of a poem. Refrain represents the central or the main theme of a poem. It can also represent the mood of a poem. Refrain some kind of produces echo. That echo of refrain helps a reader to recall a poem. Refrain emphasizes significant ideas. Refrain emphasizes striking, memorable parts of the poem. Refrain provides what we call a predictable layout or poem's structure. It reinforces the tone of a poem. We have said refrain can shed light on ideas which poets intend to highlight. It makes a poem easier. It makes a poem easier to remember, easier to learn. Refrain is very central in poetry. It solidifies some fact. It mimics sounds. We have Betty Butter, and we know that Betty Butter is kind of making some pancake, and with this refrain, Betty Butter bought some butter, we can listen to the beating of the mixture of flour and water in order to make the pancake or a cake. So that beating, bow, 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 is mimicked here, is repeated here in this poem, Betty Butter. What are you saying? No other person did that. It was Betty Butter. So this is a way of reminding us what the poem is about. Thank you. Kindly subscribe, like my video, invite others to study with me, and forward any comments.